festival. So this guy's got a history. It's chunky. It's musty. It smells like keto crotch. I can smell it from here in Australia. All right, for today's video, we have, not sure how you pronounce it, Safringe. Who is this guy? He is from Latvia, and he eats a raw carnivore meat diet, only meat, milk, eggs, and God knows what. This is the guy who he is. This is from the Metro UK, and this is the man who ate raw pig's head at a vegan festival. So this guy's got a history of clouting in the vegan events, anti-vegan protests. His name is YouTuber Getis Lagzadins, better known as Safringe. If I pronounced that probably wrong, I probably butchered that name, pun intended. Carnivore tour. We've got a party next door here in Australia, so he devoured a raw squirrel. So this guy's obviously, so it's now emerged that at age 16, this Gatus, he armed himself, stabbing through 4 classmates. All right, so this is the guy. All right, this is who we're dealing with. And this is not rumors. This is actually, he got a conviction for it, but he doesn't really discuss it in any of his videos. So anyway, this is a bit of a background check to know who we're dealing with. I mean, anyone can make rumors about anyone, but this is actual convictions. All right, he pled guilty and was convicted. So why he's out in the street, I don't know, but there you go. Anyway, this is the raw carnivore diet, and this guy is oozing personality. Total charismatic guy. Let's listen in, and I'll interject as I share my comments and criticisms. No hate to the guy, but my question is, why isn't he in prison? Stabbing 4 classmates? I don't know about that. A girl as well.
Good morning. It's 8:30 a.m. right now.
Look at that stare in the camera. This guy is bursting with energy and personality, ain't he?
It's a very windy day here.
It's a windy day as I sit inside my house, he says, with bristling personality and enthusiasm for life. I guess if I ate cat food all day, I would probably have the same amount of enthusiasm for the day.
A few guys have been asking me what I eat in a day nowadays. I've got some
my cat's been asking.
Bird wings here.
Bird wings for breakfast. I love to start my day with some bird wings.
I've only ever seen them here in France. As you may notice, the skin is quite a lot darker.
Look how he looks at it, just like disgusting. I mean, it's cat food, it's dog food. I look at that and my cats would salivate.
They're quite nice, and some raw milk.
Some milk, just like Paleo Man, Caveman had some plastic milk. Plastic milk. That's like something that an LA baby would get from their LA style at mom. Plastic milk. I mean, it's just like, is this guy real? He's drinking milk out of plastic, and he's claiming that the carnivore diet, the caveman, is where it's at. And he's sitting in front of a freaking computer with a mouse, a plastic mouse for his plastic milk, and he's trying to say caveman had it right. This guy, he's got the smiles to me here in Adelaide, Australia, down under. Let's listen in.
Milk. As you may remember, I didn't used to drink a lot of raw milk, and I still don't, but I do right now because I'm able to.
I see a confused guy. I mean, I'm laughing, but I feel sorry for this guy. This guy needs a hug. He's always had some childhood trauma potentially, and yeah, he needs carbohydrate.
To tolerate it since the last few months, but back in the day, not very well. I'm gonna answer some emails here, and that's it.
Look, he's looking away from the food. That's how much he enjoys eating raw meat for breakfast, biting into a bird wing for the camera clout. He's looking away from it. You know, imagine that. It's like going to kiss your date. You're looking away. You're looking across the room going, I'm going to have to kiss you again. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine that. Imagine your girl's giving your banana some rodding, and she's just looking out the window as she's doing it, just like bobbing her head up and down, just looking out the window like, yep, I'd rather be somewhere else. Just as Govitas is eating his freaking raw bird wing, or some poor bird in France that got chopped up for this guy's culinary clouting on YouTube. Anyways. Look at that enjoyment. Look at that face. He's really enjoying this. Not. That nod, like You imagine if your girl was given that banana rod and she just a nod like that. You'd be like, yeah, okay, you don't like it.
Yeah, okay, you don't like it.
Look at this guy. When my cat eats raw meat, it's with gusto and passion. This guy can't wait for this camera to run out of battery so I can spit the bird wing in the bin. And he grabs the mouse for some moral support. Plastic mouse, help me wash this plastic milk down, please. He's trying to click off how bad this tastes out of his mouth. He's like, if I can delete the file from my mouth and the taste buds, I think I just bit into a puscicle from the infected bird wing that was in a battery cage. What is that? Can I unsee that? Geeters, can you unclick that file in my brain? I don't want to go to bed thinking about that. Here's a nice scene, some trees. So this guy obviously has an appreciation for nature, but judging by this clip, you know, he's playing some nice background ambience music. He's in the nature, but he's got this murderer vibe going on. This is like a Blair Witch nutrition project going on here. Bodies in the cane field. Children of the corn.
All right, well, we got Ryan here, aka High Carb Regenerator on YouTube. We have Carmen in the house for the first time on the show. Holy shit. What's up, bro? What up, John Bob?
What up, fam?
Hey guys.
Peace.
So, Ryan.
Yeah.
So, we know through durianrider, you started your channel, what, last year?
I think technically it was like 2022, but I did a video about COVID and they took it down and they gave me a bunch of strikes. So I kind of backed off for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I got back into it.
And that's the High Carb Regenerator channel?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, like, you blew up recently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been going pretty good.
Doing the durianrider protocol.
Yeah, I'm basically doing the rice diet, honestly, right now.
Yeah. So, where were you at when you first went vegan? Like, what was your weight at and all that? You were a bodybuilder, so you're a pretty big dude.
Yeah, I was over 405 pounds.
Woo! Holy shit!
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
what made you go vegan?
I smelled like ammonia all the time and I was puking up stomach acid and I'm like, this just doesn't seem right anymore. And so I started looking into the vegan thing. I actually got certified to be a nutritional coach way back when I was actually coaching people to lift. And I had come across this thing called vegan. And I thought it was woo-woo, you know, like I thought, you're never going to get enough protein off that. But I ended up thinking back on that after I was puking up stomach acid every day and I decided to give it a shot. And I was living at Philly at the time and I ran into this guy, Arnold, he runs a raw vegan cafe. And he's like, man, you're pretty fat. He's like, I can help you. And
typical vegan.
Yeah. I mean, he's very to the point, but so am I, you know, like East Coast my whole life. So I'm very to the point. And I'm like, all right, you know, I got nothing else to lose. I feel terrible. And it kind of went from there.
Where did you find Harley?
I met Harley at Arnold's shop after the first Woodstock Fruit Festival. And that's actually when I originally heard of Harley. He and Freely were there.
Dope. And you got on. Did you start taking his? Did you start doing his protocols?
I did start adding the sugar in because I got tired of so many dates. I was going through like, I don't know, 2 cases, like 2 11-pound things of dates a week. I got tired of doing that.
What do we know now? Dates are just sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So yeah, but honestly, now I mostly use sugar when I'm riding bike or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it has started giving me issues with digestion.
Huh. So now you're on the rice diet.
Yeah.
How's that been? I saw you've been making videos about it.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I lost 10 pounds last month off of it.
And are you doing like the what's the guy's name, babe? Rice diet guy?
Walter Kempner.
Kempner?
Yeah, Kempner. Kind of.
Yeah.
But he really didn't allow potatoes. I'm Irish. I can't have
Oh
that.
my
So
God.
I gotta have
Really?
potatoes in there. Yeah.
Yeah, geez. We almost solely live off of potatoes. Sweet potatoes are so bomb. White sweet potatoes are so bomb. Holy
Yeah, they
shit.
call them Jersey potatoes over here. But yeah,
What do they call them?
Jersey
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh, white sweet potatoes?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's such
Yeah,
a thing as a white sweet potato.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
dude,
good.
they're unreal, bro. They
What's
taste
it
like
taste like compared to the yellow
tamales
one?
almost. We put salsa on them, and they just taste like vegan tamales.
Yeah.
What'd you
they're
say?
good.
Can you eat them
Well,
raw?
No.
But you could probably juice them. I mean, I've juiced organic potatoes before. It tastes like carrot
juice
juice. though.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Doesn't just vodka come out or something?
No, it tastes like carrot juice.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, you gotta find white sweet potatoes, John Bob. Oh, John Bob's raw though. He's not gonna cook anything.
Oh.
I mean, I eat yellow sweet potatoes, and those are dope as fuck.
Raw?
Yeah, they're so good. You know what I do? I slice them like chips. They're little round chips. I slice them up, and then I get some guacamole or some salsa. Fucking scoop that shit up. They're nice and
I'm
crunchy.
sure you're
and sweet.
digesting that shit, John Bob.
They're tasty as fuck. I'm telling you guys, you got to try this shit.
Do you dehydrate them first?
No, I just eat them as is. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
No
I'll
way.
show you the sweet. I'll show you the exact sweet potatoes.
Oh no,
I
my
didn't know
camera's
there was
bad.
white ones, but if there's white ones, I want to try them.
John
Sweet
Bob's our
potato
resident
is
raw vegan.
superior potato, guys. I'll tell you that. All right, let's see. These ones,
So what
right?
up, Carmen?
What
you
up,
been?
Dad? I'm good, brother.
Chilling, bro.
Been through a lot, but yeah, now I'm just kicking it at the crib. I want to say shout out to my man from the East Coast. I'm from Philly too, brother.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was meant to ask you, what's the spot? The wrong spot you're talking about.
Where Arnold's is?
Yeah,
Lansdale. It's like right off the train station.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever hear of the shop called Nourish?
I've heard of it. I've never been to it.
Homegirl runs a sweet, like really eclectic vegan restaurant and like juices. Like it's like the mecca of like Jamaican style vegan like health kind of
Ooh.
vibe.
Really?
she
That'd
killed
be
it.
sweet.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It used to be in South Philly. Actually, it used to be all over the place. I think it's on Girard Ave now, like Girard and Girard or something. It's called Nourish. It's real good.
Yeah, so yeah, potatoes. Kempner doesn't like potatoes, huh? Is he a non-starchy guy?
I guess he said they had too much sodium in it or too much protein or something like that. I can't vibe with that, man. I gotta have my potatoes.
Yeah, potatoes are a staple.
Yeah, it's like my soul food.
Yeah.
We didn't have rice and potatoes, we'd be screwed.
I know.
What up, Braxton?
Not much. I've been scrambling today. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my van sold today, so that's,
No way.
Yeah, that's
dude, that
awesome.
van was nice though.
Yeah, dude, I'm
that
gonna miss
thing's like
that
a
thing.
time capsule. He's got this
Seriously.
old, what is it, a 96?
95.
95 Dodge Caravan, right?
Yeah.
The OG minivan, but it's like spotless, like
Yeah.
like time capsule.
It was like right before they started getting a little more like soccer mom looking. They had a little more of like a rugged kind of appeal to them, so I was happy with that.
Yeah.
I was
Cool.
off-roading in one of those back in the 90s.
They're good cars. I like minivans in general for some reason. I don't know why. They're very they're like the first sport utility kind of like thing you can like have fun in. I remember I was in a music video in Miami, and I rented a minivan and just like drove down to the Keys and stayed in the Keys for a couple of days in the minivan. It was fucking tight.
Pop the seats out. You got a place so you can sleep. I mean, those seats are really convenient.
So, you still lift, Ryan?
No, I had to have my ankle replaced.
Oh shit.
And I don't think I'll ever go back to that life. At one point, I was squatting in the 800s, deadlifting in 800s.
800?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
But my skeleton hurts. Like I hurt. Like I actually kind of talk out against lifting. No, I wouldn't. I don't think I say that. I don't know, but I don't think I'd ever go back.
I was just about to touch
Like
on that.
6
Yeah,
of
do you
them.
think that was kind of like a result of the heavy lifting, right?
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
most of the guys that I lifted with were just like, I had a chiropractor tell me I had the back of a 75-year-old.
He jacks you up.
They all
dude.
say that, bro.
It's not, I mean, yeah, he's right with that, but
That's
it's
the
honestly,
thing.
I feel you though. Like the lifting, like traditionally, like how it's done with these like static squats and stuff, compresses the spine, bro. Like
It
it
does,
don't matter
yeah.
what your diet is. That's not how you want to be training strength. You should all look up functional patterns. They heal scoliosis with rotational movements, like with kettlebells and shit.
I've
just
actually been healing myself with my Cellerciser. It's a mini rebounder. I think that's pretty much where I'm at with weight training, weight resistance.
Carmen here is a world champion jiu-jitsu
Hey,
master.
I'm not a world champion. I've won some tournaments, but I haven't beaten the whole world yet. No, I'm just kidding.
Yet. I like your attitude.
Yeah, and man, you gotta believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? We out here.
Oh yeah, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go train some jiu-jitsu probably in like a half hour. So I figured I'd just hop on and kick it with y'all before I went and did that.
Hey,
How long you been doing that?
A minute, bro. Like I wrestled in high school, and then
Well,
I took a little break from college, and then like been kind of training hard since 2018. Pandemic kind of screwed things up. Like I was on a fight schedule and stuff, and I ended up moving to Arizona. A whole bunch of crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm back into it now. I got gyms up here, and I live in Flagstaff now, and it's like 7,000 feet elevation, so it's like such a more intense training experience and environment up here. I'm doing just fine. Love it up here. And what's cool? Flagstaff's lit, bro. And what's cool is like I actually in one of the recent tournaments I did in 2022, it was like my first return to competition. I subbed out and made it all the way to the championship, right? And this guy got me in this weird arm lock.
Yeah.
I didn't really know I was in danger until it was too late, and he snapped my arm.
Oh.
But I ended up, he broke through like my whatever the top forearm bone is on this arm. But I ended up not going to the hospital and not getting any medical attention for it, and it completely healed.
Oh wow.
Pretty quickly too. Like I was back to training within like 6 months, and then like within a year, I think within a year I dropped somebody by punching them with that hand. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I attribute that to how we eat, like the low inflammation diet and like just fasting and eating rare in general. Like it speeds up the healing process of the body.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Allie broke her clavicle last year, and she healed. She went to the hospital, but they didn't do anything, and she didn't go in for like 2 weeks. They're like, you're basically like healed already, and she healed in the upper percentile.
Yeah,
and
that's what I see. That's what I see a lot. I remember seeing that too, and it's just like whatever.
John Bob broke every bone in his body last month, and he was literally in almost a whole full body cast, and it looks like he's only got a little bit left, but he fell off of a roof.
Damn.
The doctor offered to take this one off too. He did offer to take it off, but he told me he didn't want me using it, and I told him, you can't trust me. So he put it back on. Probably a good thing, honestly. I would have used the hell out of it, but it was at the point he said it's healing nicely. We can take that off, but I don't want you using it. I said, if you don't want me using it, you better put a cast on. Don't trust me. But I'm 3.5 months in on my heel, and the doctor with my feet, he said it usually takes 6 months for a full heal, and I'm already jogging and running again. I'm 3.5 months, so I've almost cut it in half.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
used to
and
seeing too. Like, if you're a plant-based anything, you usually heal faster than what they expect. That's what I've noticed. Like, I even because I went to doctors afterwards, and they just did ultrasounds on my bones, so I actually got to see like the formation of the bone like slowly like move back into place, and that was kind of trippy to just see like your bone just gradually fix itself like over
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, your body is designed to do that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just all about getting out of its way and then do its thing. So good to hear you're back on your feet, man. Nice stuff. Nice news.
Yeah, we almost lost that guy.
it was a little building, guys. It wasn't that big. Could have
The
been
Little
worse.
building. You
the
broke
roof
how
isn't
many? You broke like
exactly-
13 bones, didn't you?
Didn't you say like 20 feet?
Well, it was less than 20 feet. It was 18 feet. So
Oh,
but,
that's not that big of a deal,
Yeah.
then.
Only 18 feet.
dude, I put up bigger buildings, man. I'm telling you, they make some pretty big pole buildings. I was glad it was as small as it was. I'll tell you that. That could have wiped me out, man.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it broke my right ankle, my left ankle, my right wrist, and my left wrist. It was all four of them all at once.
Jeez,
Pretty
man.
brutal.
Ouch.
So Ryan, you keep pretty good tabs on your blood work, don't you?
I haven't in a while. Actually, I'm probably gonna get it done soon. I did do a test though. I doubled my testosterone in 2 months, doing a pound of sugar a day, and I did document that.
What?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, John Bob. John Bob's our local sugar phobic too.
Well, you're raw, right?
Phobic. And so we've been trying
I'm
to.
completely raw, but they have raw sugar, don't they?
Yeah, that's the best
like,
kind anyway.
I'm gonna touch in on this because it's kind of like the same thing with some other things where these blanket terms get used. So like sugar is like the main thing in plants, but when we say that kind of sugar, we're talking about fructose, we're talking about glucose, we're talking about that shit. And like
Yeah.
you can get date sugar, you can get raw coconut sugar, you can get all sorts of raw sugars that are derived from plants. But then they make processed sugar, which is like dead basically. And that is like that could be potentially dangerous for some things just because it's just like not alive, basically. It has no life force. So I know that like can be injurious to teeth and might cause some blood issues, but like that's like it's the same thing with like seed oils, like all this fucking seed oil shit. Like, first of all, it's not seed oils that everybody should be worried about. It's the fake oils. What they're calling seed oils is processed oil that, again, the life is removed from it. So it becomes this stagnant thing that can't be processed. But like if you eat a seed and the oil in it gets in your body, that seed oil is actually probably the healthiest thing in the fruit, like grape seeds and all that stuff. So like people, they generalize these terms, but I think having a deeper understanding of like the different forms these things take is helpful. Yeah, like fake sugar, fake oil, no bueno. But like oil that comes from olives, oil that comes from seeds, sugar that comes from plants, that stuff's natural. So like I think that's worth saying.
Yeah, I would start off with the Florida crystals. You can even get that at Walmart. Though that stuff is amazing. It's a little more expensive. It's in a container, but when I'm like seriously riding, I'll go through like 4 pounds of that a week.
Lit.
Yeah, we go through. Allie and I go through a lot of sugar, especially. Oh crap! Yeah, if we're riding a lot, like you said, riding is like it's mandatory. Sugar water.
You have to.
After hearing you guys, sorry, you go, bud.
Yeah, I tried to do the whole food version of like riding, but you end up getting like liver cramps and shit like that. It's terrible. So I started doing dates, but then I started having bees attack me because they wanted a date. So I started
this man is out here like attracting bees. Like,
yeah, I literally used to have like a bee riding on my shoulder. I'm like, this is stupid. So like I started just bringing sugar with me. And it was wonderful. I mean, there was times where I would be out for a 40, 50, 60 mile ride and all I had was sugar.
How are your teeth holding up? Does that bother your teeth?
Well, here's the thing. Like that, I mean, my teeth are fine, right? Like, I'm 43. Like I've had my teeth my whole life, but they're fine. I find that the people that have the most cavities are the ones that go to the dentist. But like if you really think about it, everybody did that test, like to see rotting your teeth when you're in like elementary school or whatever. But they use Coca-Cola, which has phosphoric acid in it, And phosphoric acid is 1.5 pH, which is like lower than battery acid. Of course, your teeth is going to get rotted. So this is what they use for fear mongering with all this. They'll use Coca-Cola. Like Coca-Cola is, I mean, you have to have a hazmat suit on to handle phosphoric acid, and that's in Coca-Cola because it holds the carbon. That's how they put the carbonation in it, so it holds the carbonation. But if you just have straight up sugar is a pH of 7. That's completely neutral.
Yeah, tooth decay comes from malnutrition. You know, like doing stuff like eating meat and dairy, things like
or
that.
Dehydration too. Like a lot of people, if you're super dehydrated and you have sugar and it gets stuck in your teeth, you know, you can't do that either.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that like teeth are so tied into oral hygiene. Like it really like regardless of what you're eating, like if you're letting any type of food like just rot on your teeth, like it doesn't really matter what it is, that's ultimately going to cause some problems. And I find that like there are some people, you know, who complain saying that like veganism screwed their teeth up. And I mean, I don't know. I don't have like those kind of teeth problems. And I noticed that if I did have any issues with my teeth, a quick brush or two can like take care of all that. It's more about maintaining oral hygiene in general when it comes to preserving your teeth.
The only times I ever had problem with my teeth were when I was on the standard American diet. Yeah, the sugar doesn't seem to do much. But me and Allie were riding through Yosemite once, and I crashed really hard and broke a rib, and like really hard. She thought I was dead, but I just broke a rib and I finished the ride, and I stopped at this one aid station for a little bit just to chill. And all these bees, I was covered in sugar water and my bike was covered in sugar water. And all these bees came in like from out of the redwoods, and they like all started landing on me. And I was like, well, I guess I just got to not move. And I sat there for like 25 minutes with like probably 300 bees like in my general area landing on me, like licking things off me, covering my bike. It was the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, the sugar is every cell in your body, you know, runs off sugar. These low carb people are out of their minds, and there's the science to back it. But yeah, all these low carb people, they like generalizing, all seed oils. And it's like, have you seen what butter does to you? You know, like go look at the studies. Butter's way worse than all these seed oils you're vilifying. You know, and they're like, oh, vegans just drink seed oil all day. And it's like,
yeah, like that's what we're doing. Like,
yeah, they love generalizing our diets to just eating Impossible burgers and drinking seed oil and like Garland Farms with like biofuels, right? Biofuels. we all ingest biofuels.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, most of us wouldn't even touch that shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
It's not even, dude, and like the processing that is involved with a Impossible burger, it's the same as bread. You know, it's not that crazy. You know, obviously, you know, like the you know, it's not like what these guys are saying. It's pretty funny.
And even if it is, you can have a plant-based diet and avoid those foods. Like,
yeah,
they just generalize it as if it's impossible to avoid those foods on a plant-based diet. It's totally possible. Just don't.
They love talking about soy, but they ingest more mammalian estrogen than way more than vegans, because you know they're like, oh, the soy, and it's like that's plant soy, bro. That's not mammal soy. Like, holy shit.
Well, and also, have you seen
I started calling them beta now. Like all these meat eaters, I just started calling them betas. They're like,
fat?
oh, you're claiming to be an alpha. I never said that. I just called you a beta. Drinking estrogen is beta fucking energy, dude. Sorry. You know, fuck them.
That's why people get so inflammatory.
Yeah, super inflammatory.
Yeah, they get so inflammatory in the comments.
This dude with the Dr. McDougall taught a diet of starch, not refined sugar. I actually interviewed McDougall on my channel, and he said he's got no problem with refined sugar. So I don't know what you're talking about with that. You know,
well,
I feel like I recognize this dude. I'm pretty sure he saw that damn video where I interviewed McDougal. So I don't know what you're talking about, man. This is ridiculous.
Well, McDougal talks about sugar at a detriment to your teeth, not your diet.
Yeah, I mean,
for a while I thought he was, and my mom raised me McDougal from birth, and it is pouring rain all of a sudden.
yeah, we're supposed to get hit too.
So McDougal, so my mom went just no sugar on McDougal's, like his advice, not really thinking he's just saying no sugar. And so I used to have like hypoglycemic episodes because my mom was like really, really strict on sugar because of McDougal. But Allie's told me and she's showed me that he's really mostly just saying, oh, you guys should stay away from sugar because of your teeth, but just like brush your teeth, like like if you're that worried about it.
Hygiene. It's all about oral hygiene with the teeth.
Yeah.
Like take care
and being
of
hydrated.
Yeah,
he does not talk about being hydrated enough at all, and I think that's why he's got some of the he looks a little older than maybe he should.
McDougal?
I think you guys are right, but what about cavemen? And I know that sounds like a meat tart argument, but they've done studies, and the cavemen teeth, they're perfect. They're spotless, man. These motherfuckers didn't have toothbrushes.
Yeah, what did they have though? What did they have? Smoothies? Did they have the cooks? They were eating raw food. They didn't have juicers. They didn't have baby food. They didn't have processed. They were sitting there eating carrots and like whatever they could get. Can you imagine how strong your teeth would be if you were eating hard food like that?
I do eat hard food like that. I'm a raw vegan, brother.
Yeah, I mean, but you would have had to started to do that since birth. Your teeth aren't going to change, or the size of your skull ain't going to change after you're like 7.
Honestly, I actually did read a study one time, and it was referring to cane sugar, and they were saying that it causes improper bone mass development in your jaw and in your hip. And this is with pregnant women. This is a refined substance, so but also, I'm not sure that sugar is necessarily a bad thing, but I could see how like anything refined in concentrated amounts during pregnancy, might be abnormal and lead to things like that.
What's refined,
by
John
Victoria
Bob?
does it, and she's had like 4 kids now. I've had her on my channel too.
Who?
Nutrition by Victoria. She's a sugar freak.
Is she
sugar freak or sugar free?
Sugar freak. I mean that.
Yeah.
She's got this one recipe. No. It's called like glazed donut or something. It's like a ton of sugar
donut
and
made out
bananas.
of a donut with a donut on it.
No, it's just sugar and bananas in a blender.
I'm still shocked by you doubling your fucking testosterone levels in a month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. If your body runs off of sugar and you're sugar phobic, and then you start intaking sugar, so you're depriving yourself of something, and your body's doesn't have the energy to run everything, so it starts shutting things down. And then once you start giving it to yourself, all these things turn on. Your hormones start balancing better and like all kinds of stuff. But the whole sugar phobic thing is like it's the most sugar phobia and the whole process. Oh, all processed foods are bad. This generalization that all you're processing food when you eat it. Like, but then everyone's fine with juicing, but juicing's kind of a scam. It's just a scam to sell juicers. Like, it's better to eat the whole fruit or the whole vegetable. Way better.
I don't know about all that. I did 120 days on juice last year.
I know you've done all these things, John Bob, but you're definitely the skinniest dude out of all of us.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I always use Carmen.
I think about this all the time though, because like in my world in MMA, right, like the most ferocious, vicious people are like lean ass dudes with like ripped ass clean muscles. Like any type of bodybuilder, high density like person, they are functionally inadequate. Like, I mean, yeah, strength goes a long way, but like as far as like speed, quickness, and just overall athleticism, like the human is meant to be sort of like lean and quick and mobile and agile. And that's kind of why I think we get lost in this like Everybody's got to be
no.
Arnold Schwarzenegger type, like Padini.
False,
Like
false
I'm
stereotype. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean. They want to make us like believe that we have to look like gorillas or apes when I don't think human beings were actually designed to function like that. You know
No,
what I mean?
it's efficient. It's
No,
inefficient.
we're supposed to be skinny, small, fast, and like chiseled. You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's all
And those are
there
the
is to
type
it.
of guys that when I see them across the ring from me, I'm the most cautious about. I'm like, all right, this guy's gonna be a little beast.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
two different types of hypertrophy. It's sarcoplasmic, which is just liquid that fills your muscles and makes you look bigger. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then there's actual muscle growth. Which I mean, I was at the Arnold Classic one year, and I seen this guy who was like 130 pounds bench. I think it was like 650.
There's that dude Vitoli,
it's like-
the champion guy. He does the videos where he walks into the gym,
Yes,
all,
that guy.
like cleaning
Yeah.
stuff up,
Yeah,
and then he goes over to these giant dudes that are lifting like, I don't know, 600 pounds or something, and he goes up and just like picks it up with his hand, and he's a small dude, and everybody's just like, he's all, oh, are these fake weights? Like they're hilarious videos, but yeah, it's like it's not about bulk, obviously.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's about tensile strength. It's about
it's
tensile
tensile
strength.
strike. Yeah,
And
Yeah, and-
your ability to generate electricity within your body, because that's what causes contraction.
yeah.
So if you're fiber, and this is what I mean with plant-based being great for this kind of stuff, is I feel like you become fibrous like the plants that you eat. Like you have very strong fibers, whether it's tendons, all this kind of stuff. Like I don't have tendon issues, none of that. I'm doing all sorts of weird contortions and shit. And I think that combined with like the electric potential that you can generate, it just makes it so you got like this ratchet strap kind of like iron wire energy, as opposed to like I got a big muscle that moves shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Carmen, did you ever hear the story about do you know Durianrider, right?
Yeah, that's homie. I love that dude.
So he was kind of coaching Nick and Nate Diaz through the better part of their career. Definitely during Nate versus Connor when he choked Connor out.
Connor. Yeah, he was one of the
And-
only guys who was able to beat Connor in his prime, and he was a vegan.
Yeah, and Connor was a carnivore. He was doing like the all meat keto thing.
And what happened to
So-
Connor in a fucking fight? Like 2 fights after that, he kicked
gasses
somebody,
out.
right? And well, besides him gassing out, he was always notorious for gassing out, the notorious gassing out. But what I really think fucked him was like, dude, after a while, like his bones couldn't take the pressure that he was putting on his body.
No.
And when he got injured recently, he kicked some dude like with his shin bone, and then he went back to step on it, and it just
Snapped. Yeah.
like his shin was done. And
Yeah.
whereas like Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz are journeymen, like still like, you know what I mean? Nate Diaz has been fighting in the UFC for like, I think like 20 to 30 years now. And like has remained relevant. And like I said, beat the champ, like in his ladder of his career, like on his last couple on his years out. And that
And
just
Nate
goes to the
Nate
longevity.
pinked Nate almost knocked out the current world champion not even that long ago. Like, dude is a beast. Like, those dudes are such beasts. Like, it's hilarious. But so Durianrider was like, all right, you guys, so you need to get on your bikes and you need to be doing intervals the same length as your when you're in the ring, you know, whatever, 3 minutes, right?
The round length, yeah.
Yeah, you need to be going out and doing these interval training and like being straight vegan and high sugar, all that shit. And they went in there and that's the funniest thing is Rogan just praises those dudes for their gas tanks all day, and that's literally because of Durianrider's coaching.
Come on, bro.
Like, Durianrider choked out Conor McGregor. Like, holy shit, you know, like, and like no one even knows that. Like, you know, that's some of the most epic UFC shit of all time. Nick and Nate Diaz, when they were vegan, they were the most fun. That's when they got the most popularity. And they were just doing the Durianrider protocols. And they're pretty simple.
What do you think about Rogan? Because I remember like 10, 15 years ago, I know I don't like him either, but I mean, what do you think happened? Because like, if you followed Rogan for long enough, he was like real anti-NASA. Like he would go on and debate like.
I was blown away once I heard he wasn't anymore.
Yeah, and it was just
how is that possible? Yeah,
like he just did a 180, and I'm not convinced with like, you know, he doesn't really sell you on why he did the 180. There's not like this honest like video where he's like, well, I saw the light. You know what I mean? It kind of just looks like, Oh, I just changed my mind because I'm not really supposed to. Neil deGrasse Tyson is going to come on, and I'm not bringing that Eric Dubé guy on because I can't afford to have that wisdom go
Yeah,
out to the world.
I'll lose too many people, and then he wouldn't know what to say. You know, like
Yeah, they would
Dubé's
get
a beast. I wouldn't want to debate Dubé about anything.
yeah.
I
But
think
yeah,
he's bought
Rogan,
paid
as
for,
well
guys.
as like all these, like as we watch these, like you know, like truther and like activists and stuff that get bigger, we could always see the day they start getting paid because they change their story. You know, they completely change their story, and it's like, what's happening? You know, like Tim Pool and Luke Radowski, you know, like all those dudes are all they're mainstream news now. Those were dudes like I used to hang with and
I
work
know.
in
I think they're all
projects with,
controlled
like,
op, dude.
you know,
I am so convinced that there is a
Luke.
whole arm of the CIA that just co-ops these people and finances them. Like I was balls deep in all that too, dude. And
I
like
know.
when you meet these people in person, there's just something weird and off and like secretive. They don't talk a lot. Like they're shifty, you know what I mean? And then like
Yeah.
conversely, when they start acting like that, you know, they start getting promoted. They start showing up on other things. I just think that there's a huge investment in derailing truthers once they get on a road. You know what I mean? And I think that's what the whole like carnivore thing's about too, because they're knowing people are starting to study about health, so they got to make like, oh, eggs and dairy is gonna heal you type shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Nah, bro.
I'd like to bring up the fact that 98% of medical studies like support the people paying for the studies. 98%. So
John
I think,
Bob, you can't say shit like that. It's not true.
what do you mean?
98% of all studies are paid. Like,
No, not
do you read
they
studies,
support
John
the
Bob?
people
Because I
that pay.
do. You know, like
Like
there are
industry
redundancies.
funded studies. Industry funded studies. Okay, so you or I we're a doctor, right? We get hired by an industry to do a study. Are we going to try and go out of our way to support that industry that's hiring us so they can hire
No,
us more, keep putting
but
money in our
John
pocket?
Bob, once you get enough studies, they get into this category called meta study, right? And
Yep.
there are clear patterns that emerge, and when studies pop up that the patterns are amiss, they'll actually get rid of that study. And every study has a list of sponsors, and there are absolutely like watchdog groups that do this stuff, like studies. Like once you get into meta studies, like there are so many redundancies. Once they have like 5,000 studies about one subject, there's like clear stuff. And so like when any anomalies show up, they just get rid of it. They don't. But to be able to just say, and if you're talking in terms of science, in order to discredit a study, you have to discredit the information in the study that's wrong. You can't just say because you know, like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation threw some money into the study with 5,000 other people that the whole study is false or wrong or anything like that. You can't do that kind of stuff. And that's like the stuff that the metards do. You know, they're the ones falsifying and using fake numbers and stuff. And we as vegans can't do that shit. You know, like we
That's
got to
what I'm
stick to
talking about, brother.
huh?
I'm talking about the meat
No, I know.
tarts,
I'm
like
I'm
hiring
starting to
people
land
to
now.
get
But yeah,
98%. I was just saying the truthers, if we see 98% of doctors being willing to sell out on their study, I think we could probably predict pretty much the same numbers with the truther community. So 49 out of 50 or 98 out of 100, however you want to say it.
yeah,
You know, I'm just saying,
sure.
you know.
Yeah.
But you know who is a boss with fucking debunking studies? Fucking Dr. Greger, man. You guys ever read How Not to Die? The guy's a fucking boss. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
But yeah, Carmen, Luke, when I was working with Luke, I think is when he got paid, when he started getting paid. And that was the same time like Alex Jones got weird and like went Trump or something like that. It was like all the mainstream truthers that I was like working amongst all started getting paid by someone at the same time, and everyone did an about face away from libertarian stuff and went into like, oh, we need to really come down on Hillary Clinton, and we need to like, you know, like low key low key kind of support Bernie and Trump at the same time, you know, but not be too obvious. Like it was like everyone did it at the same time. And then Luke had this universal airplane ticket. He could just fly anywhere in the world for free at any time, you know. And I'm like, bro, how are you doing that? And he paid, you know, like there was always an unknown source of money coming in that was paying for things like a very extravagant thing. Like he almost became like a travel guy, you know, like, and then then he started reading the news, and I'm like, Luke, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, bro? You're reading mainstream news on your show? And he's all, that's where the crowds are. And I'm like, all right, dude, you know, like, oh, that's not why I'm here. So, you know, see you later. And then him and Tim Pool are taking over the world now, and it's crazy. But
Yeah, you're not the only person who said something along those lines about him to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway.
So have you guys noticed the plane ticket thing with other people? Because I've noticed that too, like where you're following people and all of a sudden they can travel all they want just out of nowhere. You know, it's like
it's a CIA
I wonder
op,
if
man.
that's
They
like
got a lot of money. They got a
that
lot of
black
money to
budget.
entice
They
people
got that
to
black
do.
budget, dog. That untraceable black budget. You know what I mean? If they can hire somebody to do their bidding in any way, they'll do it.
Crisis actors exist.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Really
I believe you. I just wanted to point out that I've noticed it too and ask everybody else if they've seen that too. You guys have seen that too?
For sure.
I don't watch anybody really, so I don't pay attention to any of it. I mean, I've met the Clintons. They were the most despicable people I've ever met in my life. I've met the Bushes. I didn't even feel like they were human.
Yeah, they aren't. Well, they've lived completely different lives than us, and they're just.
How do you have a company? How do you have a company that sells real estate in the highest, the most cocaine trafficking city in the country, and you have
Little Rock?
No, what is it? Nino, Arkansas, and you have this like 52 employees working for you, and you get hired as president, and all 52 die that worked for you.
Yeah,
how do you have that happen? And then it's just like, you know, and the reason that they were impeaching him was because he was doing deals with China. It had nothing to do with sex and the white. I mean, the whole thing is just a mess.
Is that documentary still around, the Clinton murders or whatever?
I have no idea.
There was like a serious documentary that came out, and they linked like 200 people that were really close around the Clintons that died mysteriously. It's out. Yeah. I guarantee it's out there somewhere, but it might have been wiped when they wiped YouTube a few years back. And that's around that time that everybody started getting paid, is when they eventually kicked Alex Jones off, and then they did the big wipe of all the YouTube.
Everybody that they couldn't buy.
Yeah, it was like 7,500 accounts in one day that got wiped.
Yeah, it was gnarly. I don't know how I didn't get wiped, because I talked about way gnarlier shit than all of those guys combined. But yeah, and then Luke, Free Thought Project, they came over to my page because I had a page with 60,000 on Facebook, which isn't much, but then they had nothing. So like I had all these big dudes back in the day using my Facebook page, blowing it up. Like I got videos that have like 14 million and shit, because those guys knew what they're doing. But it's just like they completely got reset. And like the kid from Free Thought Project, he just bought a house, like like he screwed. Like a lot of my friends were getting, that was their career, and they just completely took them off. And like Free Thought Project is not even that sketchy of an out. Like they were pretty mainstream, like they were definitely truther, but they, weren't saying anything that risque.
Conservative truthers, they call it.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, listen, I gotta hop off of here, fellas.
Yeah,
so
dude. Thanks for finally coming by, bro. Every Friday we're here.
My son says bye.
Later, brother. Bye, little dude. Later, brother.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, Ryan. So what else? So rice diet. So I'm sure Braxton's been quiet, but So Ryan's doing the rice diet right now. Ryan used to be 405 pounds, you said?
It was over. I don't know what the final weight. The final weight that I had at the doctor was 405, but I know
And
I got heavier
what's
than
the least you've been?
that. 225.
Wow. So you
But
almost lost 200 pounds.
yeah, my
Or
body just
180,
is not like
160.
staying there though. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. It just does
Yeah.
not like staying there. So I got to figure that one out. When I do raw, I mean I can't even keep weight on me, but I hate it. Like I shiver all day. Like I hate the ripening process. I can't stand it.
Yeah. It's hard unless you live in Costa Rica or Thailand or something where they have just like everything everywhere.
Yeah.
But Braxton, did you hear that he doubled his testosterone by eating a pound of sugar a week?
A day.
Yeah.
A day.
That was surprising to hear.
Yeah.
Because one dude, somebody in the comments, I think it was Lubas, he was saying something about like it's more about saturated fat being like a precursor to like hormones. And yeah, I don't know about. I was also gonna say earlier when we were talking about sugar, it's like, isn't there that whole thing about like glycogen or sugar being like the reason why people get like explosive bursts when they're exercising?
Yeah.
Well, and it's like they just did a study and they're like, okay, all these keto people, all they're losing is muscle glycogen. They're not losing that much weight.
Exactly. I try to tell them that all the time.
Yeah. And then like, why would you not want muscle glycogen? That's like one of the most important things to have in your body. So like, that's just batshit. And there are all these studies saying that, you know, these low carb diets, all these people are like raising their chances of getting like all diseases by like 60% or something. Like it's totally nuts. Like it's pretty sketch.
It's the all-cause mortality diet.
Yeah, and last week, Ryan, we watched your video about Joey.
9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the show last week. Yeah. It was pretty funny. Because Harley did one debate discussion with Joey Schwartz and like kind of smoked him like pretty easily. And Joey was like really upset at the end. And so Joey instantly did a rematch where he had set up like a chat with like his chat going to have people just like saying stuff to him so he could say stuff to Harley. And like, it was like a completely different like interview, the second one, but it's pretty long, but it's some of Harley's most classic stuff. Like his most, like, he was just like, bro, he's like, you're freaking 19, dude. He was because he was like, how often do you shit, bro? Or he's
I saw
how
that.
often do you shit, mate? And he's all, I don't know, every 5 days, basically. He's like, bro. He just started talking to him like he was like a child, and Harley got very like dad-like and was just like, dude, you're too young to be doing this stuff, dude. Like, honestly, like, it was so funny. So Harley did those were really, really not good for Joey. Then
no,
Joey
I heard his channel actually went down quite a bit after those interviews.
Oh, he lost 10,000. Oh, well, hold on. So then he did Nutrivore, a debate with Nutrivore. Nutrivore destroyed and literally made Joey run away because Joey just didn't know what he was doing. And then I did my discussion with him, and that one really, like, I got really in, like, I was like, dude, because he's all, oh, I don't want to debate you about carnivore. And I'm like, but your carnivore camaraderie, that's why I went to you. That's why we're doing this. Because like once I had him on film, he got scared because he had just kind of gotten his ass kicked around by a bunch of vegans already. And so he didn't really debate me. And so I kind of just like picked apart a bunch of, like, he has all these dumb arguments of like just terrible, terrible arguments. And then I rematched him on a show that does debates, like moderated, really like a real debate. And they stopped the debate 5 minutes in because Joey was just like throwing a temper tantrum because the moderator's just like, dude, you're not even debating, like, get out of here. And, and then that next week, the next 2 weeks, he disappears. I had told him he was going to get scurvy, and I think Harley did too. And then he got scurvy. Then he changed his name. And then now he's high carb. And we were watching your video because that was the first time I saw that. And so we watched the video and I'm just like losing my mind. I'm like, dude, like, holy shit. He actually kind of has a brain. Like he's actually kind of listening, you know?
Oh, I had to delete so many comments off that video because they were so stupid. I mean, there was like threats and stuff like that. I'm like, this is just
by his people?
Yeah.
Wow.
And by carnivore people.
He had 25,000 when I debated him, and he's got 16,000 right now.
Yeah.
But so what happened was Bart K, who's also a big carnivore guy.
I just finally found
he's the worst.
Yeah,
he's the worst. I need to. I'm supposed to debate him soon, but I'm like kind of dreading it because he's kind of the worst. But so Bart, after watching Joey get his ass beat by 3 vegans in a row, kind of was like made a video like, hey, we need to turn against this guy, and that's what happened basically. But Joey's a dumbass. Like he's completely LA, like retarded LA guy.
Yeah.
Just trying to make money. He's in Mexico now doing like Lambo videos, like lifting weights and shit, like trying to be Andrew Tate or something. Like he's pathetic. But yeah, so that was a pretty fun video to see eventually, finally, someone coming around. So what's up, Braxton? Braxton likes corn a lot.
Yeah, that's a good segue. That was actually
I'll be right back.
All right, man.
I gotta mute this thing.
All right. I had a couple things I want to bring up because we were talking about the whole sugar phobia kind of deal.
Yeah.
That actually was something that, like, when I was starting to get into following like Gregor and McDougall a little more deeply, when they were talking about their sugar phobia thing, it's like you guys were kind of talking about, it's more about the dental health than anything. And that was also what kind of got me on the sugar phobia. It kind of clicked for me when you guys mentioned that. Because I've had a number of cavities in the past, and I was like, okay, well, obviously I can't have sugar because I can't afford the dental bills right now. But well, I found this. I grabbed this.
It's just like it's a genuine wives' tale.
Yeah,
literally, like a genuine wives' tale, like one of the oldest like wives' tales that we have, basically. And it's like it's that like I was saying about my mom mishearing McDougall. That's just like, oh, just sugar's kind of, you got to worry about their teeth, and just completely taking me off anything that had sugar in it. And like, I'd be in class and I couldn't, there'd be like blotchy. I couldn't focus on anything. And like, and then they'd be like, they'd call my mom and they're like, dude, you're not feeding your kid. And she's like, yeah, I am. But, and like, that was just stuff I knew. I remembered happening in my childhood. Then when Allie, I start dating Allie and she's like pouring sugar on her cereal, like, and eating, drinking sugar water and going on rides. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, holy crap, like, then I figure out through durianrider, like, oh, I was carb deficient when I was a kid because my mom wasn't feeding me any sugar. And I was literally having hypoglycemic fits where like it was just like an episode you have where you can't focus, you feel really weird. And like then I was like, oh, that's what was happening. Once I went high carb, I was just like, that's what was happening. And then just like being a kid and like not doing my homework, like not like really procrastinating with stuff all the time, like not doing, like doing really good and like certain, like way above my school average in certain things in school, but then like, just not doing my homework and like not giving a shit that they would like punish me for it. And just like, I would just be looking at the time being like, I can't believe I have 10 more years of this shit, just like, it was such a nightmare to me. But then being like low carb at the time too, didn't make it any easier. So it was like, and like another thing I bring up, like I had YouTube for like 7 years and I made like maybe 200 videos. And the second I went high carb, I made like 200 videos in 6 months. Like it just, I don't know what happened. Like it just things, I mean, I'm sure it's a little placebo, but like when you're deficient of your energy source, and then you're not anymore, like things happen, it changes things. And definitely like riding bikes 100 miles, in the heat, with Allie, like that really, you can't get away with doing something that isn't the right thing out there, and like figuring out how simple, focusing on macros, micros instead of micros, like a lot of people and like a lot of the carnivore keto crowd, oh, it's all about the nutrient, the micro, the getting all the right essential nutrients in the like all these things, when it's like, no, it's actually about the carb, protein, fat balance that you're taking in. And like, it depends on what you're trying to do. Obviously, if you're trying to go ride bikes 100 miles, we're drinking sugar water. That's, which I actually recommend anyone doing. Honestly, I know that sounds crazy, but that's how we've all gotten quite a lot of success with the high sugar. And it makes sense, like they want us in their hospitals with lots of problems. They want us tired. They don't want us really, like they want us working, but they want us in their hospitals eventually, because then all that money we made while we were working, we'll give to the hospitals for the last couple of years of our life. So they don't give us the right advice, and they never have.
Yeah, they want us working or sleeping, right?
Yeah,
pretty much,
basically.
Yeah. Bipolar on off, and then if they can get you on like energy drinks and like quick pick me up kind of foods,
alcohol,
all the things that are supposed to be that quick pick me up, and then eventually enough years go by where you're just in that like 9 to 5 grind, like 40-hour work week, just like I don't have time to care about my health, that kind of stuff. Eventually you get caught up into pharmaceuticals, and you're prime candidate for some kind of surgery later on in life. And so
I wish Hard Hat was here. Hard Hat's another he comes up on the show. He's a former big time weightlifter, and he did a bunch of drugs, a bunch of EPOs and shit, or PEDs back in the day. And he's got to be on like a lot of stuff now, but he's gotten to the point where he's a meat eater, but he needs to go vegan because his doctor says, he's got all these problems because of his cholesterol and all kinds of stuff. And so he's
too.
He's very interested in going vegan, but he's very reluctant to. And he comes over and talks to us sometimes, but he's pretty fried out from all the weightlifting drugs from back in the day.
Yeah,
but it seems like you
I
were
never
just
went
big.
down that path.
Yeah, you were just big. It seems like you're just a big boy.
I had messed up feet. I couldn't outrun a trash can, but I wanted to do something, and I could lift. It was one thing that I could do. I was strong.
Yeah. But yeah, the false male physique. Everyone's got to look like Arnold, and that's the manly thing, and that's what women want. Across the board generalizations, Yeah. But it's funny to watch, like sometimes when I post about weightlifting and stuff like that, these dudes come out of the woodwork and they really fight to the death over these, half naked dudes. It's really funny. Like they're very serious into this stuff. And I'm like, bro, step outside yourself for a second and look at how much energy you're putting into defending these like buff guys. And they're like, oh, they're all natty. And it's like, no, they aren't, bro.
No.
Like all these old school guys, they did it too. And they were 4 feet tall. They're like Joe Rogan size, like it's not hard to get gnarly huge looking when you're 4 feet tall, like.
No, if you look at Jay Cutler, I think he's 5'8". When I met him, he was on Super Juice when I met him. And my buddy asked him about Mike Menzer, and he started chasing us. He wanted to start a fight. And I'm like, over asking about Mike Menzer, it's ridiculous. But Schwarzenegger's 6 foot, and Lou Ferrigno was 5'2" or 6'2". So some of them are a little taller.
Yeah, Lou is big, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like again, that's not natural. That's not ideal. That's not efficient. Like it's just, what are you gonna like outside of just the show of bodybuilding and like having that whatever trend, I guess. Like there's no practical use for it outside of, if you're gonna be a bouncer or like I I guess if you have something where you're lifting shit all day, but there's not that many like manual jobs like that anymore.
No,
It's
and
obesity,
actually,
isn't it?
it's annoying because at one point my arms were 24 inches round, my legs were 36 inches round, my calves were like 24 to 25 inches round. You're not finding clothes in that, so you got to wear like workout clothes all the time. I could not wear boxers on days that I was squatting because I would pop them. And when you're in the middle of if you're in the, you know, if you're all the way down in the squat and your boxers pop, it sends you backwards. It's so
Yeah.
impractical.
Yeah. And then like Justin Pedini, like these guys like always wear sweats.
You have to. What else are you going to wear? I literally started having to get tailored clothes, like, because I couldn't buy just regular clothes somewhere and wear them.
That's crazy. Yeah. And you're 6 foot though, right?
Yeah, I'm about 6 foot. I used to be 6 foot. Ever since the surgery, my back is all jacked up, and so I'm like 5'11". But yeah, like I used to be about 6 foot.
Your arms are wider than John Bob and Braxton combined, probably.
I always say that when you're lifting weights, it might be muscle. It doesn't have to be fat. It's still obesity. Your heart's still got to pump all of that blood to support all of that muscle. You know, that's a lot of work on your heart. That's a form of obesity. It's just not socially
disordered.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's disordered eating, and it's strange and not healthy. Or
I
else
would
we'd be
never go
seeing
back
all
to it.
these buff guys, gray beards all over the place, you know, but we don't, because they all die at like 50 and their hearts give out, or they took too much juice in the 90s or something like that. All these WWF guys and stuff, like none of those guys are still around. Roddy Piper, rest in peace. Holy crap, that guy was a legend. I think he did. Roddy Piper, how'd he die? I think it just, you know, something health related.
Most of it's
But he
heart
was a
attacks.
big time truther. Holy crap.
Well, that might be why he's gone.
Yeah. Well, he started a podcast and he was doing nothing but like truther stuff. And then, yeah, I was working with a guy. We did an interview with him right before he passed away. But he was dope. He was on It's Sunny in Philadelphia. Those are some of the best episodes. That's a good show if you haven't seen that.
It is a good show, yeah.
But yeah. So what's up, Braxton? What you got on the agenda for the night?
Not a whole lot. Probably packing.
Yeah. Nothing to talk about. So Ryan, we've found a lot of evidence. I don't know if you're a religious man or anything like that, but we've found a lot of evidence that points towards Jesus being vegetarian.
Yeah, I've been hearing that recently, but then if you look at the last time he was seen, he ate a baked piece of fish.
Yeah, but he had just been dead. And so he was probably groggy and someone just handed him something.
Yeah.
And, you know, any of us would be like, what the hell is this? Or, you know, like, who knows really how that went down. But that's the only time that
is the only time.
Anything. Yeah. And they're like, we have a couple of guys that come on that are like big religious dudes. This is like their thing. And Braxton actually has a bunch of really good information. There's a video by a guy that we watched called Jesus Was Vegetarian. That's really, 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 really good. I'll send you the link after the show. But yeah, there were like vegan group, like there was very much a spiritual issue with the eating of animals, and there were groups that did not eat animals, and like I was blown away to hear this, because I was like, oh, they probably have some like there's some metaphor stuff that probably like, but no, there was like legit, like there were like vegans in the Bible. They just didn't call them that.
Yeah,
it was
I
just,
did videos.
in.
Yeah, I did a couple videos about that way back early when I was making videos. But there was some warriors who refused to fight unless they only ate meat or potatoes and stuff like that. They would refuse to fight.
The Romans were called the barley men.
Yeah,
you know, they weren't called the meat men.
No. And then if you
Meat
read
day.
it, actually in the Revelations, it talks about you need to be cleansed of sacrifice and all that. So I mean, it's definitely in there.
Yeah. But
They wrote a new Bible too. It's called the Vegan Bible. It's black with I want to say like a trimmer or something over across of it. You guys should look it up. I tried ordering one today, so I didn't get a call back from my bookstore though. So I'm hoping. Yeah,
That's
I'm a
crazy.
nerd. Dude, he was totally a vegan. I'm not sure what you were saying about the fish either though, because I think fish was mistranslated, and earlier Bibles didn't even have the word fish in it. That was added later on. So there's
That
multiple
is
things about that
that
don't make
is
sense.
an issue, yeah, that you run into because there was a lot of hands on that Bible changing it around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, what wasn't they mistook the grasshoppers? What was it called? The
Locust.
The locust, but locust in Hebrew is the same as like a plant.
John the
What was it?
Fisherman. John the Fisherman was accused of being a bug eater, being a locust eater, and it turned out that it was a mistranslation of the word like locust bean.
It
And
was a
so,
bean. Yeah, bean, not the
it was a
actual
carrot.
like grasshopper.
Yeah, it was like carob. So like basically
carob,
because
yeah.
of that, they were like, oh, he's a bug eater, and they looked at him as being like a strange character in the Bible. But it's like, no, they mistranslated something, like they did, kind of like the word dominion being from the Hebrew word radah, meaning it's basically means stewardship versus the dominion of like dominating. So complete,
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of that.
Yeah. So it's a
Ryan,
complete-
have you watched the channel Mind Unveiled or Old World Florida?
No.
Ooh, these are really, 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 really good channels done by vegans. And occasionally they do something based on you should check them out. Mind Unveiled is unbelievable. It's one of the, like, if you're into old stuff, like old time stuff, history stuff, like esoteric kind of occult kind of stuff, Mind Unveiled's amazing. But the dude that does Mind Unveiled is vegan, and he ties in all this occult stuff, like really interesting stuff. And then Old World Florida is this guy in Florida. Florida's a really weird fucking place, but similar, just kind of like really cool historic stuff. And then also done by a vegan who also ties stuff in every once in a while, but we'll have to do some reviews on some of their stuff in the future. But yeah. So Harley's kind of Harley's why Durian Rider is why me and Ryan know each other. And
that's right.
Durian Rider is one of the best vegan trolls of all time. He's one of the OGs. This is Durian Rider.
This is the sugar one, isn't it?
Yeah, this one's awesome. And this is kind of like, and this is hard. This is 20 years ago, maybe.
So here's a quick,
long time ago, little tiny
ride meal when I couldn't get much
pre-steroid Durian Rider.
Good old crappy Australian fruit situation. I wish we had the fruit here we have in Thailand. I'd never leave this place if we had that. So I've got a big ride tomorrow, hard ride, a lot of climbing. It's called the Dirty Dozen. So once a year ride. So I'm gonna have a big carb up meal. I've got some low sodium cereal here. I have about a pound of that, which is a whole box. This is a Sustain. It's very low sodium cereal. It's not organic, unfortunately, but it's low sodium, and that's what's important to me for the dog. I have some fat-free soy milk here. In the US, you can get fat-free organic. You can't get that in Australia. We've got fat-free soy milk. We've got 1 gram of fat for the whole quart of soy milk, and not much sodium either. We've got some organic sugar, certified organic sugar, which is easy to get in Australia. And I'll show you how much sugar I use.
Oh, no.
So we're about 350 grams of carbs. In the box of cereal, 350 grams for the box of cereal. So that means I want to try and have a 600 gram of sugar this one. So I'm going to put about 300 grams
John Bob.
of sugar on here. I don't use a teaspoon. I don't use a tablespoon. I pour the sugar on. So I'm going to measure out about 150 grams of sugar there. That's it. It's close enough. So that's the sugar there on the cereal. And that, my friends, is how I can have a good stocked up glycogen tank for tomorrow. So you see that. That's. Would you like some cereal with your sugar, sir? That's how we eat. That's how you eat to be skinny and gaunt as a cyclist. Lots of sugar. Fruit's the best. Can't get my fruits today. I'm going to have some refined organic sugar, mix it with some cereal, and this is going to be great. I'm going to feel strong all day tomorrow versus just be good for half an hour and then you're bonking. So it's all about the carbs. It's all about the sugars, and it's all about keeping it low fat, low protein, low sodium, so you just stay rail thin so you can just dance up the hills like you're an EPO. And so I'll even dilute this soy milk with a bit of water as well, make it even less protein, less fat. And here we have bon appetit. I'll have to get a spoon, but you can see here, I don't want to tip on my computer, but you see that sugar's in there. That's how you do it. Sugar for the win. Eat as much sugar as you want. Sugar is a skinny food. Look how skinny my neck is. Look at my cheeks. Now, I've just had 5 weeks off of any real decent training, 5-week break. And tomorrow I'm going to be back on the hill. So you can tell how fucking lean I am after a break, that this high sugar thing works. Obviously, fruit is your best because fruit has all the enzymes, nutrients, and phytonutrients, and vitamins and minerals. But you can't get your fruit, that's fine. Have a backup plan. For me, that's refined sugar with starches. So essentially, I'm making this starch meal taste like fruit. I'm adding the sugar in there, which is simple sugars, found in fruit. And I'm adding the water in there, the soy milk, to make it sweet and juicy. We need sweet and juicy. Sweet and juicy is a natural design. Fruit's our natural food. Yeah. So if you can't get enough fruit, you're going to have a backup plan. Something sweet and starchy. Thanks for watching. Post your comments down below. Why am I so lean on so much sugar? When they say sugar makes you fat. If I'm not training much, I'm still lean as. It's not genetic because my mum is clinically obese. Crazy. See you soon.
Okay, I will say this. When I'm juicing and I'm consuming.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I'm juicing and I'm consuming 2 gallons of juice a day, I've never consumed as much sugar, and I felt absolutely fucking amazing. It was just,
hell yeah. Yeah, dude. Look at Harley's dying from all the sugar. He's dying from the sugar. That's what they say. It's a drug. It'll kill you. It's all slow-mo. Carb deficient. Protein deficient vegan right there. Just dying.
I always hear this protein deficiency thing, and it's always people that are obese and struggling with their health, man. Like standard American diet eaters, and then fucking telling us that we're fucking protein deficient, I actually went on a carnivore page the other day, and it was on my TikTok, and I had a picture of me while I was juicing, just shredded, fucking, they see my picture. They're like, you're not vegan.
Or juicing steroids. Which one?
What?
Juicing juice or juicing steroids?
Juicing juice, man. I don't do drugs.
Okay, we got to be clear. I'm
super drug free. Oh, well, I'm super drug free. By juicing, I mean drinking a couple gallons of fresh, juicy, wonderful fruit juice a day, man. So
yeah, man, you're carving up. That's what we call carving up.
Either way, I was on this meat tart page on TikTok, and there was tons of people on there, and they started attacking me, telling me, "You're not a vegan. You eat cheeseburgers in the closet." And I'm thinking, do people that eat cheeseburgers look like this? And they were telling me that I was a liar. And then I said, not only do I do not eat meat, I don't work out either. I read books. Then they almost lost their mind. And it's like, dude, you don't think a gorilla needs to go work out? It's just shredded. It's built. That's its nature, if you feed your body right, your body is going to give you fucking results. You don't need to go sit in a gym. You don't need to shove corpses in your mouth. Shove some fresh, juicy plants in there. And don't get me wrong, I'm an active guy. It's not like I just, like do nothing, but
Yeah.
I'm still not like working out or anything crazy, So,
Yeah. So this is one of my other favorite durianrider videos. It's him trolling world tour riders, and it's just kind of funny.
Today's video, we're going to troll birdies.
So these guys are all training in Australia, and they're all very serious road cyclists. And so Harley goes out on his bamboo bike, a bike made out of bamboo, with this old guy mask on, and starts like riding circles around them. Harley's a
whoa!
insane,
He passed him like he was standing still.
yeah, he's a beast. All plant powered.
That is such a convincing mask too.
It is. It's freakish.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like, and he runs the camera, so you see all the reactions by the cyclists. It's really funny. $450 watts is more power than I could put out for a second, basically. And I've been riding for, I don't know, a couple years now. Rides alongside him.
Oh, you need to send me this video later.
They're like, what the fuck? Smoking them. These are like the best cyclists in the world, basically. I mean, they are the best cyclists in the world. Probably the gnarliest athletes on the planet, honestly. Cyclists. Like,
yeah, it is a dangerous sport.
Very dangerous and very hard. And you have to, every one of these guys is so juicy to go, it's not even fun.
You need to send me this video. One of my best friends is a pro biker. I want to show him.
You need to binge watch Harley's his YouTube. Harley was
What is it?
He was the #1 vegan YouTuber on YouTube for like 10 years before his girlfriend surpassed him.
So here we caught up to Team BMC, getting a bit harder. About 450 watts, probably got less time for shenanigans with Uncle Chester. We can see the focus there, see the cadence, pretty smooth cadence. All about getting the power to the pedal with good cadence there, smooth, efficient pedaling, just focusing up the road, semi-relaxed shoulders. And when you're pushing that sort of watts, you can't really look at anything else. You got to just hold your focus, concentrating, cadence, and just good form, good breathing, relaxed breathing, but strong. Just letting the breathing go and just breathing from the belly, not afraid to be loud, and just pushing the pedals and pushing the cadence and keeping an eye on your cadence, keeping an eye on your wattage so they don't blow up. Hold the watts. Hold the watts. People ask, what bike does Uncle Chester ride? He rides a Repco Super Light, just with Dunlop volleys and some jeans he got from the thrift store. BMC guys doing about 450 watts here, pushing out some big watts. Uncle Chester, he also rides to wattage, easy cadence of about 90 to 100, similar Chris Froome style. Uncle Chester is always watches the YouTube videos and gets some good tips from there.
Love Uncle Chester.
We love Uncle Chesty. He's doing great. He's in some good form at the moment. Got to give him a call tonight, actually. See how he's doing.
Getting too old for this shit.
That's sweaty. Track team and the Lamprey were good sports. They had a good laugh at it. And there you go. So it's not about your age. It's more about your attitude. But again, the reason why an electric bike is so powerful is it produces extra watts. And you won't have enough wattage unless you've got enough carbohydrates and water in the tank. So don't forget to carb the fuck up because Uncle Chester's going to get you. Fair trade, organic.
He didn't even mention the car, and he's just talking about his bananas.
Oh, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Harley doesn't know how to drive. If you know, you know. Not his car. Doesn't know how to drive. Never had a license in his life. He was like in LA hanging out with some like rich YouTuber couple, and like they were just like he just did that to be funny. But yeah, so Harley's a pretty funny dude. We've learned a lot from him. I mean, he's really funny, but he really knows what he's talking about. Shockingly, extremely smart dude. He has a coaching group. You should check it out. It's like $200 to get in it, and you're in it for life. And if you want to like ride bikes and get super lean, he constantly is making videos. If you watch his stuff a lot, it's kind of the same stuff over and over again, but he's just a really funny dude. And he really has a lot of good information. He critiques a lot of the doctors that we like, you know, like Gregor and all these guys. He critiques them all because, you know, and like that's kind of good, you know, like that's setting the bar. That's how the free market works. You know, we have to, you know, critique those critique our own, you know, at all times, basically, especially with the vegan stuff, because you know, we don't have to lie like the carnists do and make up fake things and spread them around as if they're true when they're really, you know, hurting people. But yeah. So Harley's both of you guys should, I mean, especially John Bob, because John Bob was raw vegan durianrider was raw vegan for a long time, and he's done steroids openly, and he's done, you know, like he's constantly, and his girlfriend, they're always kind of you know, altering their diet to like change their body type to kind of prove it to everyone that the, you know, being vegan, it's so versatile. You know, once you're lean, you can do anything you want. You can up the fat and protein and build a little bit more muscle if you want, very easily, like John Bob was talking about, or you can cut that out and lose it very easily too. But we, you know, me and Allie, were as low fat as possible, as low protein as possible, and just unlimited carbs. And as long as you're eating, you know, whole food diet, you really don't need to supplement that much. But a few things I definitely recommend creatine and B12, obviously, and D if you don't get a lot of sun. But creatine's dope. just especially for vegans, just as a daily supplement outside of working out or anything. I've noticed once I went vegan and high carb vegan, it was very like I very fluctuated in weight very little. The smallest I've fluctuated in my life was high carb vegan. But once I started creatine on top of that, it gave me like another, it just kind of filled me out a little bit more. And ever since creatine, like I'm just almost dead set on the same weight, more regular than I've ever been in my life. And then just like, like sometimes I get a little too skinny. But that hasn't happened in years. It's weird, like when I was eating the standard American diet, I would go from being really skinny to like getting a weird beer belly, and I'm ectomorph. I'm too skinny to have any fat on me. So like I was constantly fluctuating back and forth, maybe 10, 15 pounds probably doesn't sound that much, but on someone who's 6 foot 150, that's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah. And so, and then, eating right as a vegan completely like chilled that out. But then ever since creatine, it's been really cool. Because I look like I kind of look like I'm working out, even though I'm not, and like if I am doing anything strenuous at all, I'm like, holy shit, I look huge right now. Like creatine's pretty dope. And Allie's figured out that women who take creatine suffer less negative effects during their periods. And this was something I think she found out from Harley's. Where did we hear that? Was it Natasha? I think it was Natasha was interviewing some female cyclists, and they were talking about the creatine in there, and like, I guess they don't lose as much weight, or they don't gain as much weight during the period, I guess. And there's less, because like if you're road cycling and you're like doing it a lot, and you're a female and your period comes along, it totally messes up your training, because like you get, your levels are all messed up, and stuff happens. So being like a professional cyclist or someone who's really into it, mitigating that period of time, no pun intended, that you're feeling these negative effects from your menstruation is probably very, like an interesting thing. And like this girl was like, no, creatine really, really, really helps. Or not, maybe not really, 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 really helps, but it definitely took like the edge off of like the kind of like a recovery cycle, which is kind of interesting too. And I've seen there, it's the most tested and longest running, and probably best as far as like keeping a good body weight or keeping a little bit of muscle on you. Outside of obviously HGH and DECA and stuff like that, but yeah. So Ryan, you want to shout out your channel?
I changed it back. It's Ryan Talty HCR, to represent the High Carb Regenerator.
Okay, that what happened?
Yeah, I want to talk about other stuff other than just like high carb. So, like I'm trying desperately. I know the algorithm does not like when you do that, so we'll see what happens. I might have to just, I got a couple other channels. I might have to, put videos in different channels, but I'm trying to see how this goes.
I've done social media like professionally a bunch of times. I've been on YouTube since I had one of the first like 5,000 YouTube channels way back in the day. It doesn't like when you change your name, but your count, the count of the people that are following you is completely irrelevant. You really shouldn't worry about the numbers as far as new likes goes, because it really doesn't matter as long as you're making good content. And it's obvious you already got a pretty good spot with the algorithm, which is really hard to do. So I would just keep it up, but I totally get the name. And we have a buddy named Tyler, who's the vegan cyclist on YouTube. He's got 500,000 We've done events with him up north. Pretty cool dude, but he had to drop the vegan from his name because it's hurt him his whole career.
Yeah.
And now it's just VC Adventures, and he's not like a big vegan activist. Like, he's vegan and he promotes veganism and, you know, like all that stuff, but he's not like a big activist. So but it's absolutely, I mean, you could imagine he's huge now just off his cycling stuff. So you could imagine if vegan wasn't attached, he'd probably be a lot bigger. But like I said, your like count doesn't really matter as long as you're making good content and you got people that come back every week and all that stuff. The algorithm loves that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I support what you did. It's kind of tough, you know, and it's like you get pigeonholed and you're like, how many, it's like, unless you're Harley, who could literally talk about the subject for decades on end, you know, you're totally pigeonholing yourself in, and you kind of have to always talk about that kind of stuff. So, you know, and you're not, you know, you obviously, like, you seem, your channel seems very honest, you know, because you're not just like blowing smoke up everyone's ass. Oh, just everything vegan is so great. You know, you're like, you know, like, I've had some trouble with some of these things, you know, and that's like, vegans need to be more critical of other vegans, but vegans need to be, you know, we have to be, you know, that honest, because we don't have anything to hide, you know, and like, they're the ones lying, you know, we can be completely honest and not, you know, and like, people watching the show that might not be vegan or something, when they see us like critiquing other vegans, or like someone who's exceptionally honest about the downside of the things, it makes, you know, that's like what we really need to be doing. That's the real activism. That's the good shit, where other people be like, oh, well, they're not just like, they don't just sound like these carnivore guys that are just like nothing but meat, you know, and you're gonna die. Like, it's way more honest and convincing, you know, when people are, you know, like, being honest, and when vegans don't let other vegans be silly too, because there are a lot of cringe vegans out there, you know, that aren't really doing, you know, we watched this Earthling Ed video where he was just like trashing conspiracy theorists, like just making these massive generalizations, and it's like, oh, he's like, all this stuff is so, you know, so bad for the animals, and it's just like, bro, you know, like, the fact that everyone thinks that every single vegan is a liberal is a really bad thing for the animals, and like, pushing those ideas, you know, really isn't helping us that much. All the vegans I know are diehard like anarchists, and like, you know, we're not a part of the whole two-party thing, and you know, like, whenever I do debates, everyone just assumes we're all, you know, we're leftists and stuff, and it's like, bro, like, straight libertarian ANCAP, like, I'll out debate you on anything. Just assume that I'm liberal because I'm vegan, you know, like, you got another thing coming, because there are a lot of vegans that are not libs. Not that that's a bad thing.
I did I did a 150 mile, the MS-150. I don't know if you know what it is. It's a 150 mile ride for multiple sclerosis. You know, I really think that you can cure that with diet. I actually know 2 people who have, with going vegan. I just wanted to ride my bike. You're like, this is where I'm coming from. But they all thought like I was a hardcore leftist, and I'm like, whoa, like, this is a supported ride for 150 miles. It sounded good to me. That's why I did it. Like, you know, don't go putting that down my, you know, so it's just, it really is. It's unfortunate how you get pigeonholed like that.
And I mean, the fact that we are a group that is growing in size, that's really good for the animals too, because it's all about breaking stereotypes with veganism, because we started off with such a bad reputation, because because it triggers so many people, and they have to argue their side, you know, because they eat meat. So, you know, but it's like, we have to break these stereotypes. And that's kind of like why I do this channel, is just trying to, like, you know, it's kind of like we're trying to keep the good content coming. And like, man, we got Braxton and Devin and like John, and like this group we meet up every week, and it's like, it always ends up being different dudes, you know. Well, it's mostly the same dudes, but some dudes, you know, come on and some go, and it's always interesting. But like, we have some dudes that spit fire. We have like some really smart people up here, and that's kind of how we're going to win this thing, is just keeping the good content coming out and keeping this like keeping the ball rolling, because we're doing way better than they are. They're losing right now. I had all these carnivore failure videos coming out now, and that I was just waiting for it, and it's like the fad only started a couple years ago, so it's like, okay, they'll get away with it for a while, you know, and then you start seeing these videos trickle in of like people like that lady that got the stroke, and like I did this video on this guy that was like in tears because he just got back from the doctor, and doctor's like, you're gonna die, dude. And like all his friends are carnivore and they're all talking shit to him, you know, like, and then now it's just like this onslaught. I've been looking on YouTube at just all these carnivore failure videos, and at least some of them are admitting it, because I thought no one was ever going to admit it. You know, they just keep it going, like, and because like most of these dudes, they like the idea of the carnivore diet or keto, and they do it sometimes, but most time they don't. But they fight it in the comments like they do it all the time. But none of these dudes are really doing it. They do it on the weekends, maybe sometimes. But I mean, I know I'm making generalizations here, but I'm just saying, I bet if I had money, if I had to put money on it, I would say that the overwhelming majority of these guys that fight us daily, you know, that are like making videos against us and stuff on here, these anti-vegan guys, like they're not even, and you know, they're like, I've seen it like on my Facebook. This dude, one of my biggest trolls, he was just pushing his grocery cart. He was like a picture of half his grocery cart I was pushing out. He was like, oh, switch to Trader Joe's. I'm all, bro, because it's bread and shit. And I'm like, dude, you are the like carnivore doctor guy that's always up here trolling everyone, like, and you're eating bread and cereal and fruit. Like, what's going on? So you're not even on this thing. And then, you know, everyone's like, oh, Rogan carnivore, and you go on there and he's eating pizza and McDonald's every other day, and you know, he's starting to look really bad. And everyone's just like, oh, he's so buff, he's so fucking healthy, you know, like, it's like, wow, no.
No, it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
I'm gonna say too, it's kind of funny because Joe Rogan and Bruce Lee, and oddly enough myself, are all the same height, 5'7", and like there's a complete difference. Like I've seen Joe Rogan's like build. It's unnatural and just weird looking. He has like some kind of weird like pig body. Yeah, like he's muscular, but it's like muscle gut. It just looks so bizarre.
That's from HGH. If you see the temples coming out in the distended gut, that's generally from growth hormone.
The thing down the stroke. Yeah. I watched some. I think for some reason I watched some Arnold Schwarzenegger thing talking about how like back in his day it was all about just a small, skinny stomach, and now these dudes do have like these big.
They didn't have access to HGH. Actually, I think the first person who took it was Dorian Yates, and it was actually from a cadaver.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's gross. Like real HGH.
Yeah, like real, like, so he was real serious about that. So yeah, it wasn't even a thing that you could do back in their day.
It's like bull shark testosterone.
And so the whole like image of like the like bodybuilder image has changed since his time, because like now all these dudes have like these fat bellies, and like they all and it's funnier because you can't really build your legs that much. And so you got all these gnarly big dudes, and they have like tiny skinny legs. And it's like, some of them, but yeah, like, and then they get like, they're getting like implants and shit now, leg implants, dudes. Oh, that's Steven Crowder got pec implants because he thought he didn't look manly enough. That's pretty funny.
Wow. I can't imagine being at that point.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like my hair's starting to fall, like fine, like 45. I'm finally starting to thin out. I don't have gray yet, but like it's starting. I don't give a shit. But like,
get some banana oil, dude.
Banana oil, huh?
Banana oil.
Fasting and fast.
Well, fasting will
Bob likes
probably
fasting
make
a
it
lot,
fall out.
John Bob's our resident fast guy.
Here's the thing with fasting.
Do you drink water, John Bob?
In your body? Yeah, I drink water.
Okay,
I try and stick with distilled or spring water. One or the other. I won't touch city water. That shit's fucking
Some raw
poison.
vegans don't drink water.
That's weird. That's weird. No,
That's why
dude, remember? Sure.
You're
Remember
crazy.
this?
Your crazy device.
Oh yeah, you're I am. John Bob's our local resident falls for every gimmick guy too. He
I
buys
don't know
all the
about
things.
everyone, but I was willing to try that one.
He buys all the things that the chiropractors are selling. But it's good. He tries them out for us and lets us know which ones actually work or not.
I guess results.
Yeah, I have that. I'm on one of those sheets right now that are plugged into the wall. The grounding sheets.
You're zapping yourself with a lot of electronic waves, John Bob. Might not be good.
Well, I think we're supposed to touch the ground. Shoes don't occur naturally in nature, so it makes sense to
I don't believe
be
in shoes at all.
attached to the magnetic field. You know?
Yeah. It only makes sense if there's electricity in us that we base, if we ground out every once in a while, it's going to do something, and it's probably not going to do something bad. That's like, that's one of the one things that Liver King started doing that really pissed me off that he was doing that. He's like, oh, you got to go outside and put your feet in the ground. I'm like, that's my thing, you asshole. Oh boy, watching that guy fall was hilarious and obvious. And okay, alkaline water is a scam. If you're healthy, your body instantly alkalizes any liquids put in you. Yeah, if you're really unhealthy, alkaline water might be something that you might want to do. Unfortunately,
I don't really buy into that. I mean, I mean, chemistry wise, it doesn't make any sense. If you're drinking a bunch of alkaline water, it's going to neutralize your stomach acid, and you're going to have to build more stomach acid just to digest the food that you just ate.
Yeah, it's another. The Kangen machines are $3,500 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
well, that's why people. That's why. Yeah, that's why people sell it.
Yeah, and a lot of our friends are kind of it's cool having a circle like this because like people come in and they're like, hey, what about this? And it's like there's so much wives' tales and fake snake oil stuff,
rabbit holes. Rabbit holes.
Yeah, and so it's like so many people just repeat things because they heard it on the internet or they heard it from their podcaster guy they like. And it's just stuff that's just completely not true or completely unhealthy. I know John Bob loves fasting, but I fasting is just you have to change the word fasting to starving. And like, is that a good idea? I don't know, maybe in some circumstances, but if you have a very active lifestyle, you're just going to be depleting your glycogen stores, and you aren't going to have that like real deep muscle glycogen store next time you have to do something either explosive or like long, like some sort of endurance thing. You're gonna bonk is what it's called. You're gonna hit a wall. And I didn't realize until doing the cycling stuff, how little cardio I had my whole life. Like I couldn't run a block or two without kind of like I never trained run. My dad's a runner, but I never trained. But like just the average, my walking around cardio is jack compared to how it is now, or how it can be, how I've had it a couple times, because with any kind of working out, you go in and out of things. But just learning, I mean, just going back to the cycling thing, when you're trying to ride so many miles every day, when you do stuff that doesn't work, you don't meet your goals. And cycling's something that you could really like test things out and like really see results, because if you're not carved up one day, $40, like a 40-mile ride, you're done. But the next day, if you're carved up right, you could go do 100. And it's all about eating, obviously, during that time. It's really hard when you're on the bike for like 4 hours to continue eating. When you're eating like snacks and like sugary waters and stuff, you just get over it and you just want the ride to be over. But then that's when you'll literally feel yourself start wearing down on energy. And the second you squeeze sugar water, like the second you put it in your mouth, you'll feel it pop back in, because your body runs the most efficient off that shit. And we have receptors in our mouth that tells, you know, the rest of our body, you know, hey, there's more new stuff coming in, so you don't have to conserve what you're, you know, what you're doing right now. You're trying to like make it last a long time. But when you're constantly giving yourself that energy, it's just wild when you get out there and you feel it. You're like, oh my God, I feel like shit right now. And you take a little sip of something and you're like, oh, I'm fine. Like, it's like really strange once you get dialed in. And then especially when you're vegan, because you don't have all this garbage in your stomach floating around, not being, you know, weighing you down, not being digested. Thanks, babe. Yeah, so you know, Ryan, I know you ride. You crashed a bike. You broke a bike in half, didn't you?
Yeah, one time.
Damn, boy.
Yeah, it was a Trek Madone.
A Madone too. That's like a stout bike.
Yeah, well,
that's like a big boy endurance bike. You just stick to alloy these days?
I just started riding steel.
Yeah,
I might actually have a titanium bike built for me, but
I ride steel. I ride steel only right now.
Yeah, I actually most of my bikes are actually down tube shifters, steel bikes. Like I don't really.
Cool. Yeah, bikes are dope. And it's that there was I was watching, it was like some dork, like one of the Bill Nye the Science Guy or something. He was talking about it was one of the few cool things he's ever said. But he was talking about like the efficiency of animals or creatures on the planet, and how the condors are like really high up there because they just do this, and they can do this for like hours and not really do anything. But he said like a human on a bike was like way more efficient than that, as far as like things go. But it was just kind of interesting because like you really I mean, you don't understand how like any like Braxton, if you got a bike tomorrow, if you had like a nice seat and nice, you know, like it was a good bike, you could probably ride 100 miles. And it's pretty mind blowing to think that, you know, like it might take you. It took me a couple months, didn't it? When did you take me on the First Century? A month? Before she drugged me out for a whole 100 miles. But it's just wild to see, like at 45 miles, you get kind of grumpy. And that's you basically depleting the glycogen that you have. So you have to be like piling it back in, and you'll feel like this hump you get over. And then you get like that kind of like runner's high. But like we've done races, and dude, I've almost died like on the bike. Like it's crazy. Like you have serious, you go through serious shit, and you go to dark places, you know, and you're like, why the living shit am I out here in 100 degrees weather riding a 80-mile race with 8,000 feet of elevation, and I'm 45, vegan, you know, like half crippled, bum knee, you know, like what am I doing out here chasing this hot girl around, basically? But yeah, so yeah, it's really interesting to see how far you can push yourself, because running, like you don't do it with running, because running beats the shit out of you and you have to stop, you know. A bike, you could kind of chill on a bike and keep going. So like you have the ability to like dig really deep and then take it easy a little bit and recover quite a bit in order to keep going. Once you're really like, once you do it for a while, it's I don't know, it was just wild. I've never really been that athletic. I've always been athletic-ish, you know, and like healthy-ish. But it wasn't until like deep in the durianrider protocols, deep into cycling, when I was like, whoa, dude, the human body's just like a machine, and you just got to do a couple things. And because like I went from barely being able to ride, you know, up like 10 feet to riding like, you know, 8,000 feet pretty quickly. And the riding up the hills thing is like a whole different thing too. You know, you could ride on a flat but like anyone could really ride a flat 80, 90 miles maybe, but riding up hills is like a whole different story. And then riding up hills all day is like a whole different story. And she got me to that point within a few months on the durianrider protocols, like literally a few months. I did one of the hardest races in North America, bike races. It was like 75 miles with 8,000 feet of elevation, but it's on dirt, like on gravel and up mountains and like crazy shit. And I did that 6 months in and finished, like, shockingly. But the carb thing and the sugar thing, like, you can't do it without it. Like, that's why whenever I post my Strava, I post can't do this on keto, because you can't do it. There are none of these dudes doing this. Okay, Chris Froome, you know Chris Froome, Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Chris Froome, the GOAT of all time cyclist, right? GOAT of all time, little skinny dude, GOAT, right? Goes low carb, hasn't won a race since.
No.
Like, what else do you need to know? You know, like,
Yeah,
I don't even
it's
think
crazy.
he's finished the race. Like, in the top, he hasn't had a podium, hasn't done anything, you know, and he's still trying it, which is mind numbing. You know, it's like, bro, or these guys, and then you'll see there's all these articles coming out and like, oh, world champion endurance cyclist keto, you know, and it's like, no fucking way, it's impossible. And it's like, okay, so they're keto part of the time, but leading up to a race they're not, during the race they're not, after the race they may go back, but they aren't doing it. Like, it's not that, it's completely deceptive, you know. Like, I've had people be all, oh, Chris Froome's fucking, you know, like metards be all, oh, Chris Froome, this guy, they'll show me an article, oh, this guy's low carb. And it's like, yeah, he hasn't won a race since, you know, like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey guys, I'm gonna dip out. I just wanted to say,
we're at 8.
Yeah, I got to get out of here too. It's like
Yeah,
11
we're
o'clock
all
here.
out. Thanks for coming, Ryan.
Hey, no problem.
Check out his YouTube, follow him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get you next time.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.
All right.
All right.